All right, let's start with the first the birth date.
Oh yeah, her birthday was December 13th.
That's Baron's birthday.
Yeah,
And what year?
1947.
Okay. So what are some fond memories that you have about B?
We was laughing about how uh, when he was a babe, a little boy, he his eyes always watered because his eyes was glued to the TV. Then uh, I remember we were talking about when I was going to Gimbel's and he didn't want to walk. And he was laid out in the middle of, is that 6th where Gimbel's was?
I think so. Sixth or
Yeah.
seventh. Yeah.
And we was laughing about how I had to whip him to get him to move, sitting in the middle. And that's why I think a lot about that Duquesne Club,
Mm-hmm.
because it was always in front of that Duquesne Club. And there wasn't nobody going in there but men, but since then women go in there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to walk. So I had to whip him to get him to move, but then I had to end up picking him up and taking him out the street. And then we'd go to the show. And when we would go to the show, that boy, when he used to look at TV, the eyes was glued, and his eyes was glued, but the water ran out because he was there, kept his eye on, and so we was laughing about that. And so it was a couple years before Tony came along. But me and Baron went everywhere.
Mm.
And those was the good times, just sitting, and we'd go on the show. He'd have his little bag of popcorn. And I had to put the seat up because he's so little.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, we used to have some good times, me and him.
So what do you admire about B? What qualities that he has that you admire and that you like?
He never sashed me,
Mm-hmm.
for one thing. And he always listened. And he,
But even as an adult, like the man that he is today, what do you admire about him?
he has a good attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And I never heard him say anything or put people down. That there's incidents in his life that stuck with me, because Bruce is younger than Baron,
Mm-hmm.
and it was almost like Baron was his father,
Mm-hmm.
because one Saturday night they was in this place and the police raided it, and they took Baron because of Bruce, like Baron was the father. And we was laughing about that. But I was always on him, because whenever something occurred, and if he was in it, seemed like the only one that got caught.
Mm-hmm.
And we were laughing about that. I said, Baron. Oh, and when he got in trouble, I was telling him some things because he had gotten out there and was messing around with drugs, and he was call himself selling and stuff like that. And that some kind of way, before things got serious, something always came up to pull him out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I was always on him.
Mm-hmm.
That he never sassed me or nothing.
Mm-hmm. And so, in spite of the setbacks that he had, I mean, you can admire the man that he is today.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they stay down that path, but the fact that he was able to turn his life around and be the man that he is today says a lot, huh?
Yeah. And he went to school. What stands out was when he was going, he graduated from Effingham Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
And what really was a time that a memorable time, the song that they had marched in when they graduated was the same one I marched in when I graduated.
Okay.
And that even though he had his share of trouble, he's always, you know how some kids, you need to mind your business and stuff like that, never said it.
Mm.
Yeah, he always was the same as you see him now. That's how he was when he was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd go around Taxi's drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
Him with a couple other boys. Stole ice cream bar, but they remembered him. They always remembered him. I never heard him cuss nobody out or blame other people. And but he been just the way you see him now. That's the way he was when he was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He never really gave you a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And so the other day, Tony, somebody had called from Pine Forest, 'cause this year they're honoring those who went to school in 1966. He didn't graduate from there because he finished at Westinghouse.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody from Pine Forest called. In fact, Yvette was on the committee and asked Tony, they think Baron might want to come when they have the celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it so happened he was here.
Okay.
So he said he'd like to go.
Okay.
And he always, but he never, one thing I about Baron, he never put people down.
Mm-hmm.
He just quit fooling with them.
Yeah.
And he was, you see here his testimony, how he's glad that he turned out the way that he did. Because a lot of his friends all went to prison, might still be there, he said.
Mm-hmm.
But he credits, like my mom, in the way that we worked with him and brought him up.
Mm-hmm.
With how he is now.
Yeah, he seems to be a giving person. You know,
Yeah.
you see how the things that he does for others, and that's one thing that I admire about B too.
Yeah.
Okay.